Hello and welcome to the Cutting Edge Cosplay Podcast, where your fellow geek girls hang out and talk all things cosplay. Today, we are joined with a special guest, WigglesTheGreat, who is a cosplayer that we just recently met and been following for a while that primarily cosplays anime and video games. So, Wiggles, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you guys for getting me on the podcast. I've been like, oh, that looks so fun. I'm less like, oh my god, you guys want to talk about anime today? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard that you're so into anime. I'm like,
yeah.
we can have an anime episode, guys.
Yes.
So let's start. Let's go way back. What got you into anime and how old were you?
So I really don't remember how old I was when I got into anime. I started watching, I started with the Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon combo back in the day when it was on TV, like a lot of us out there. And after that, it kind of grew up to like Pokemon and Naruto and I don't know. I kind of secret watched anime for a while because of like the whole, going to school thing.
Yeah,
So
it wasn't very popular then.
no, it definitely wasn't popular. So I secretly kind of watched like Naruto. That was actually a really big one that I secret watched. Then it was long.
Well, okay, so I think Naruto gave anime a bad rep because I just have flashbacks of like the nerdy kids like doing Naruto runs like in school, and then like people saw that and then they're like, oh, you can't. Like, you are that person if you liked anime, which obviously is a blanket statement and not true. But that's kind of why I think that whole thing is where it's like, you just didn't tell people.
Yeah, I know. It was, I know. And looking back on it now, I'm like, honestly, why didn't I Naruto run with everybody?
I know.
I should have just done it. We should have just made it socially acceptable. But yeah.
Agreed.
I guess that was like the big me getting into it. And then I finally kind of came out, as an anime lover after I had watched like so many in the closet and I couldn't not talk about it anymore when I was like 19 or something.
Which one was it where you're like, oh, I love anime? Which one was it?
It was Nana. I needed to tell somebody how hard I was crying.
Oh my god.
It was what?
Nana.
Oh.
It's right here, yeah.
It's like
this is
therapy. You need therapy
my god. Yeah.
So you have the manga. It's also a show?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I saw it, was when I was 19. I watched it on Netflix, I think, no, it was on Hulu, I think. I binged it in like 2 nights.
Wow.
And my poor soul after that.
Oh my gosh.
I just really needed to tell someone.
It just like wrecks you. Do you want to tell the story of Nana? People who like haven't seen it.
Give an overview because I am blank staring.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm dying to know.
If you guys want any of those, just let me know. So Nana is actually like it's always been my favorite. It helped me through a lot of things in my life. And it's about, without spoiling anything, because some of this kind of sounds like spoilers, but it is about 2 girls named Nana who are moving to Tokyo for the first time. They both had dreams of moving to Tokyo to be different people. They're very different. One's a punk rocker. The other one is more like preppy. And their personalities are completely different as well. They kind of complement each other really well. They're both the same age, and they just met on a train because they got stuck in the snow on the train. And they end up like re-finding each other in Tokyo when they're finding an apartment, and they move in together. And it's just their story about them, like, I don't know, intertwining their lives, basically.
They become roommates.
Mm-hmm.
They were roommates.
Yeah.
They were roommates.
And it really, I guess what really wrecks you about it is like, because they're so different, you don't expect their friendship to blossom as it does. And it just becomes like the most important thing in your life. Like, you're rooting for them the entire time. You want them to be, better friends. You want them to like achieve all their dreams that they're going for. And then, like life, things get complicated with Nana's band, and then also like it's a romance as well, not between the 2 Nanas, but just like them being close friends, and then like the other members of the band and things like that. So yeah, it's definitely like, I don't know, it's not like a slice of life because there's the like pop star like aspect of it, like the rock star aspect of it, but it's just so soul wrenching.
So I just very, very recently have been dipping my toe into animes. So my frame of reference as far as making these connections is going to be a little limited, so bear with me. But I did get recommended Violet Evergarden, and it sounds like that would kind of fall into a similar category maybe as that one. Would that be?
It's more of like a slow build up. Violet Evergarden is like very like punches you in the gut every single episode, whereas Nana is like a slow,
very slow burn.
Like slow burn,
but there's definitely instances in Nana where like it's a gut punch because like as their lives progress differently, but also together because they're so invested in each other and each other's lives. Like, you know, if one of them makes like a bad decision or is going through something that's horrible, they like both go through it in a way. What's really cool about the anime is that it actually, half of it is one Nana's side and half of it is the other Nana's side. So you get to see kind of the inner workings of all of it from both perspectives. So that's what I really loved about it, because I saw myself in both Nanas at like different points in my life. And yeah, it's very real.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So who did you tell?
So my partner at the time who like kind of supported my like anime stuff, not as much as I watched it. Kind of thought it was like a waste, but at least like listened to me talk about it and stuff. And we did watch some together. Like he watched Naruto with me and whatnot. So, but yeah, I told him, and then I told one of my college friends that I went to high school with. We were both in a game design class. So another like very safe space to like be a weeb, you know. I was like, oh my god, have you seen Nana? He had not, but he was like, no, tell me about it, because he just loves anime and stuff too. So I was able to talk to him about it, and he gave me a bunch of anime to watch, and like Gurren Lagann. That's like, oh man, another one. But yeah, he gave me a bunch of anime, and then through that, I like actually met a lot of like friends that were like-minded and also loved anime, but still hadn't watched Nana. So.
Your go-to jumping off point.
Yeah. Haven't watched Nana. Next.
I showed my partner now Nana, because I still didn't have any friends that had seen Nana, and so I was like, babe, it's getting rebooted. Babe. We're going to get it. And so I finally got it. And he was like, yeah, let's watch it. And he watched it and he was like, wow, this is like tearing my entire soul out of me. Oh my God. I could not stop watching it. And now he loves it just as much as I do. So
yay.
Finally had somebody to talk to Nana about like 11 years later.
God. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay, if you're watching right now and you have seen Nana, let us know in the comments and let us know what you liked about it.
Yes.
I'm curious, because if you're saying that you've only met a handful of people who've ever seen it.
It's big now. So there was a thing with it. They actually, I saw it on Hulu a long time ago when I was 19. So that was, how old am I?
Like last year.
13 years ago. Yeah, like last year. Hulu had the rights to it for a long time. And then it ended up getting taken off of Hulu, and you couldn't find it anywhere like throughout the years for like 10 years.
So you had to sail the seas to get it.
Yes. All you could find was like on YouTube, most of it, but it was missing like some key episodes, and they were also in 240p. And they had this weird vignetting on them, and I still watched them because I wanted to see Nana again.
Honestly, I kind of remember that. It is like really difficult to watch it and also read it too. Yeah. Because like it's unfinished. The story, I mean, it kind of has an end point, but it is unfinished. But yeah, it's like, it kind of like went MIA for quite a while. So it was difficult to, get caught up, because I think when I had watched it, I wasn't, maybe it was in the middle. And then like years and years later, I was able to watch the rest of it, or read the rest of it.
Yeah.
So when animes kind of fall off the face of the earth for a little while, and you're trying to find something kind of similar, where do you even start? Because I feel like you say anime, and it's such a broad spectrum of things that you might be jumping into. So if I look up anime, it could be a Pokemon, or it could be a Violet Evergarden, or it could be a Naruto, and it could be any number of other things that are nothing like those first things that I said. And so
I think the genres are, that's a good.
yeah, like
part to
what
talk
do you
about
even
the
look for?
genres. So my favorite genres in anime are romance and horror, which is completely different most of the time, sometimes not. So it kind of depends on my mood too. So like if I wanted something like Violet Evergarden, I would just Google something like Violet Evergarden, or I would kind of look at, gosh, I don't even know what that one is. It's, what would you consider that as? Like it's kind of
Oh my god.
mystery. That one's a difficult one for a genre, but my god. Oh my god. So like Nana, I would say is a romance, and it's a what is it? There's what's the one for females and men? So shoujo is for men, right? And then seinen is that the
I can't
woman
remember.
one?
I like
So yeah, like like anime is kind of categorized in a way. I'm just gonna do an easy one because I'm on the spot right now. Horror. Chainsaw Man is now like kind of a newer like horror manga. So like I know that I like horror, so you type in horror animes and there'll be a list, and most of them, like Berserk, also like, well, if you like a few of them that show up on that list, you're probably gonna like the rest of them. So that's kind of an easy way if you're looking for more anime and you've only seen a couple, but you know those are the ones you really like. You said that you liked Promised Neverland, right? Did you watch the first season?
yes.
So we have a live stream every Tuesday, and usually it's me at my bear cave doing my craft nights. But one day I just wasn't able to do it, so Danny took over. And a large part of her conversation that she was having with the chat was animes. And
I'm sorry, that's just
how it is. No, it was great because I had never heard of any of these things, and so she starts listing off these different animes, and she's like, oh, and one that absolutely everybody needs to watch is Promised Neverland.
The first episode, just one.
I can't tell you anything about it. Just watch it. She was like, there's orphans. That's all you need to know. And I was sitting there, and she's like, don't spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it. So we won't spoil it right now. But so I was like listening to that. I was kind of laughing. I was like, it's going to be something silly. And I'll just like go into our Discord and talk about it. And then I watched the first episode. I was like, I can't tell anybody about this.
That's some of these animes I'm like kind of talking about. I'm like, that's kind of, even with Nana, like,
oh, it's dark.
It can get dark, man.
Ways, yeah. Yep. They talk a lot about like internal struggle. It gets really psychological in certain parts.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's also like just action, adventure, genres in anime. There's fantasy, which is like a newer manga that I'm kind of getting into. I took like a break from anime and manga when I lived in Chicago. There just wasn't really a big fan base over there. And I was moving a bunch, so I didn't have room to like move all my stuff everywhere. So then I started reading fantasy. And then I liked fantasy so much, I was like, I want to get back into reading manga. And so some Freyren is really good. Fantasy manga, Witch Hat Atelier or Atelier, or I don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah. So these are some like fantasy recommendations that I have, and that kind of got me back into anime world and like manga world for these two. Gateway drug again.
I know your styles definitely changed between then. So Danny was the first person that introduced me to anime, and I didn't like it. Watch it anyways. Yeah. And it's because I didn't like the genres or whatever that she was like shoving down my throat. In the time that she was out in Chicago, I ended out like trying out some other kinds of anime. Like, I kind of got eased in with like Naruto and like Dragon Ball and like when he's the OG, like when he's like a little kid running around.
Yeah. I skipped those. I never watched.
I watched all of it. I'm not very far in Dragon Ball Z, but just like the OG Dragon Ball, it was easy to just crochet too. I was making little amigurumis while watching it, but that like eased me into a whole bunch of other things where like there was Bleach and Full Metal Alchemist, and then it like transitioned into like One Punch Man, and then it started going into like some of the like goofy like kind of pervy ones like Heaven's Lost Property and stuff like that. So, and then like at that time I got reincarnated as a slime, which I didn't watch for such a long time because the name was so long and silly to me. Noticing that like there's all these other different kinds versus just the Howl's Moving Castle and Kiki's Delivery Service that like I know a lot of people love it, but not my style.
Yeah.
So, and then it seems like your style kind of changed a lot when you did come back, because then you were watching like Berserk, like Soul Eater we both watched.
Yeah, Berserk I'd like tried to like get people to watch, and because I had like binge watched it from Blockbuster, and then I started reading it. And I was in high school at the time. So, you know, I was all angsty and emo, and that was like great for me then. But then yeah, now I'm like not quite that hardcore anymore. So like My Dress Up Darling I used that name for like my cosplay name now, because I didn't have one. I didn't have a cosplay like Instagram or anything. So I was watching that anime at the time, and I was like, this is so cute. Like, we're doing this anime podcast now, and or not anime podcast. Cosplay podcast.
I was like, I'll see myself out, I guess.
Like, bye. Oh, no.
I'm up to 4 animes watched now at this point.
So now we're doing a lot more cosplay, and we have this cosplay podcast. So I was like, this is a perfect opportunity for me to make my own. So yeah, it's changed quite a bit. Now I like kind of cuter things. But I feel like I'm definitely out of the loop because it's been years since I've really like been up to watching stuff. So any recommendations are nice.
I don't know. I feel like well, this is not really a recommendation. It's kind of veering off into a completely different conversation. Sorry.
That's okay.
So
I'll think about my recommendations.
Yeah. I'll give everybody else time to think about recommendations. But I was just going to say, like, when I think of anime, Bunny just reminded me of that, because when you think of anime, you were thinking of Howl's Moving Castle. But when I think of anime, as somebody that doesn't really watch anime, I think of like Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon and stuff like that, where it's loud and the characters' voices are very high pitched and they move around a lot and
they're kind of twitchy.
I'm sorry, we're gonna just keep doing this episode. I'm sorry if you like it. It is so aggravating.
Oh my gosh.
It makes me actually upset, and I cannot handle that style of animation. It's annoying. It's too much. So that's, I think, and I don't think that I'm alone in that. When you think of anime, that's the first thing that you think of is like the meh and the crying the tears way out here, and the suddenly his eyes disappeared, and you know,
oh my gosh,
it's fine, but it's a lot and it's overwhelming, and some of the fan bases have people who seem like they act like that as well, and so it is off-putting to people. How would you recommend that people talk to people? So, like, you as anime lovers, how would you talk to me, who my initial reaction is, ew?
for me.
You know what I mean? Like, just let's find workarounds. Let's find.
Do you feel like you're kind of like traumatized by these people?
Well, it's not even really the people. It's the content more than anything. It's just not my style.
Gotcha.
Every fandom has its population that doesn't do it any justice. So I'm not trying to like blanket statement anybody who watches anime is this way. It's just I have met some people who are that way, and the content itself, they seem to build off of each other. So if that's what I'm used to, but you know that there's this whole hidden world that I can't see, and I'm starting to now. But I'm not. I've got a long way to go. Like all this beautiful content or this really story-driven content that takes maybe 1 episode instead of 15 episodes to tell a story. Like, help me see the light, I guess.
Well,
what would you say to me?
For the first question, with like I guess like talking to people that are a little over like dramatized, because it sounds like the over dramatization is probably the part that you're like not connecting with exactly. If you were like interested in watching animes that aren't as over dramatized, honestly, Nana is very real. Like the story is super realistic. And even though they do a little bit of over dramatization just because it's like it's kind of an anime thing, it's, I don't know, it
Very
doesn't
mild.
feel like that, and it's really mild. So that might be a good way to go. But as for like talking to people that are a little over dramatized, especially because we are all in the cosplay like, you know, scene and everything, it can be like a lot for people. Like I'm somebody who gets overwhelmed, and so I totally understand that. And honestly, I don't think you have to talk to them is a thing.
I think what I'm asking more is, I guess I'm kind of asking you to defend the genre in a little bit, which maybe not be fair. But if I'm writing it off because it looks like too much,
Change my mind.
change my mind.
While you think of your answer, I think part of it is for your end, looking into different kinds of anime. So, for example, a lot of the horror style ones, so like Parasyte, I don't know, or Berserk, or any of the ones that are more horror themed, they don't really have those like really obnoxious characters because things are more serious.
Yeah.
And then even One Punch Man, like it's got some comedy in there and stuff like that, but the obnoxious characters are normally the ones that like are about to get beat up or are like the bad guy or something. So it kind of like redirects your view of that character versus like the main character that everyone's focused on is that like obnoxious character that like irritates you.
Yeah, that's a good point. So from my side of it would be look into something different. And then maybe from your side, you could be like, well, yes, that is a very obnoxious style, or it's for a certain person. Maybe try these other ones. So maybe have ready some calmer.
Yeah. There are just so many genres, really. There's just there's so many anime, but so I think like you just have to kind of start watching them and then really like think, okay, I don't like this because of this. And then we can all recommend some to you that are a little different or more towards what you like.
Yeah. And also if you ever wanted to try, like, say there is an anime that does have like one obnoxious character or something, like, I don't know, you could always try to dip your toe into it. And like, if you don't like it, then, and I mean, you don't have to like all of these animes or anything either. I just wanted to say that, like, you don't have to like anime. But although we want you to, but, like, you can always try it and like maybe try it again or something that has like a light kind of obnoxious character, or like an episode where somebody's being obnoxious instead of the whole thing, like Black Clover. I know a lot of people got really annoyed with Asta's voice in the beginning of it, because he was really whiny. And there's another couple characters that I actually can't watch the show because of one character, which is a lot for me. So I think if you ever wanted to try to like get over that just because you wanted to watch like something else that sounded really good, but there's this obnoxious character, then you could always like try to like, what is it called? It's like when you put yourself in a situation to try to get over it, you know?
Exposure therapy.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm in school to be a therapist. I don't remember what it's called. Yeah.
Well,
I feel like you could try to do that.
I think we kind of did that like growing. Well, I grew up watching anime. My dad took me to this science fiction convention growing up since I was like in a stroller. So we had very early access to like Pokemon, Sailor Moon, like other animes that people just didn't really know about. And he constantly brought me to Borders. We'd hang out there for hours. Barnes or Half Price Books. And Half Price Books growing up was kind of a mecca of random anime VHSs and like manga and stuff. So, and it was super cheap. So I had always had access to it because I was just bored. And it was easy to read in the bookstore while I was waiting for my dad to finish his shopping. So I just had like a ton of exposure to it early on. So I kind of grew up, exposure therapy, I guess. Like I grew up with that, like the annoying aspects of anime, like the pervertedness of it. Like to me, that was kind of like the norm because I just was watching so much. So it doesn't really bother me as much. So I can definitely see where somebody just getting into it is like, what the heck is all of this? Oh my God. Did you see that? I was like, yeah, it's fine. It's just a harem. That's fine.
It's just their character.
Yeah, he's the main character. Of course he gets all the girls.
I grew up with Inuyasha and stuff too. Now thinking about it, you reminded me of the perverted character. So I was like, oh, Moroku. Yeah, that was like, man, that was a hyperfixation for a few years of mine. Because I think I was in 6th grade when I started watching that, and I found Toonami. And
oh yeah, that was good too.
Yeah, good old Toonami.
To stay up super late.
Yes. Toonami was a channel, right?
Yeah, it was Cartoon Network after hours. And it was all anime.
It was like Adult Swim, but for kids.
Yeah. It really should have been kept on Adult Swim though.
Yeah. I had my mom record every single night the VHS of the new Inuyasha episode every week.
Aww.
And I would watch it the next day. And I remember thinking back on like annoying characters. My mom, I remember one time she was like, okay, is this episode almost over? And I was like, wow. No, Mom. I was like, well, actually, I think it is. But she was like, okay. She's like, okay. Because I had watched a lot of Inuyasha that day, and then I watched the new episode, and then she was like, okay, there's just only so many times I can hear Inuyasha, Kagome, Inuyasha, Kagome.
They do scream each other's names like
it's
so
all the time,
often.
all the time.
That's kind of like in any anime too, though. Like they're constantly screaming each other's names.
Yep.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Oh my gosh. You've seen so many more anime than I thought.
I made a
Wow,
list
so
when we were
impressed.
like getting everything
Wow.
together, and like I don't know if you can see how long that list is, but actually no, sorry.
Okay.
And I think
Look
I'm
at
still
you.
missing some, but just because like they're not in any particular order, but like
Do
there
you
was
have
like
a favorite so far, or like favorite genre, or like ones that you like the best?
I don't know what the genre would be, but I tend to like ones that are more like action adventure-y. So there's a lot of fighting, but where they've got a decent amount of comedy, like dorky comedy. So like that time I got reincarnated as a slime, like has a lot of those kind of like really bad jokes in it and stuff. I'm like, yes. This is I'm trying to think of what else. Well, because like One Punch Man, I love that. Same with like Demon Slayer was really good. Goblin Slayer was so good that I binged it so fast that I always forget to tell people about it, because like it was like just the quickest blip of my life with how fast I like watched through it, but it was so good. But then there's other things too that like I don't know, I guess I forget are considered like anime, like Seven Deadly Sins. It's like it's on Netflix, so I don't necessarily think of it as anime. I more think of like the stuff that you find on Crunchyroll or other sites like that. I loved Parasyte. But yeah, that doesn't really have the comedy in it.
I actually went years. I don't know. I like horror anime, but for some reason I was so scared to watch Parasyte because in my mind I had built it up as it was like terrifying, like the extreme horror of extreme horror. And so I was like, oh, it's too scary. I can't watch it. We watched it and it was funny. Like, and it was not scary and it was cool. And it kind of goes into like that whole genre with like Tokyo Ghoul and I guess now like Chainsaw Man, where it's like there's like grotesque monsters, but there's like a story involved and it's like character building and people are making friends and there could be a romance in there. That's not horror to me, or at least what I'm used to it as like horror. So that was like just the most surprising part about Parasyte.
I loved Parasyte. I watched that so many times. I loved it because it was so psychological. Like with Shinichi's character, it was so like internal. You know, like everything he went with, like I don't know, with like Migi and everything. And I loved the dreams because my partner and I look up like our dreams and things when we have them, because that's what your brain is doing when you're sleeping, is like it's dreaming to process things that you're either like not looking at in life or, you know, whatever, some internal struggles you're going through, stuff like that. And there's a lot of symbolism in dreams, and Shinichi's dreams actually have that symbolism in there for like what he's going through. And it's just really, man, it was so cool. It was just so deep with that
You
stuff.
guys have all talked about Parasyte now. Can you give me a brief overview of what it is?
So there's a
go for
there's
it.
a parasite, but
There's a parasite.
actually, I don't know how to explain that very well,
There's
but
like an
essentially
alien
there's
parasite.
like it's kind of like Attack of the Body Snatchers
Okay.
in a way, where they like need a host body, and but it kind of like takes over the like eats the body essentially, but like runs it. But the main
They have their own
character-
agenda.
Yeah. The main character has a like found a way to like isolate it a bit for a while.
He wrapped his arm in his
like
ear
headphone
cord
cables or whatever,
trying
because
to
he
get it
caught it.
Oh,
get in
Because
there.
he caught it when it was like trying to infect him.
Yeah. It wants to go for your brain, and so it went into like his arm or something. I remember he wrapped
He had
it
a
around his
cut or
arm at least.
something,
Yeah, I
or-
can't remember exactly what it was, but he wrapped his arm in like his cable and like pulled it really tight and
like tourniqueted his arm.
until the
Wow.
parasite like stopped, basically, because the parasite only has like I think it was like a minute or 30 seconds to like enter into your brain. Otherwise, it has to host wherever it is, and then it's failed.
Have you guys ever seen Peacemaker? It's not an anime. It's it's John Cena is the main character. And he's
Wonderful.
a superhero in like I think DC Comics, and like he has his sidekick is an eagle named Eagly. Parasyte reminded me of it because the bad guy in Peacemaker is like basically a butterfly that goes into your brain and like
Whoa.
scoops out your brain and takes over control of the
I was
body.
not
That's-
expecting
Oh.
that at all. Oh my god.
I do highly recommend Peacemaker though. It is wild.
Okay, that does remind me though, because superhero or like superpower, I think that's a genre for anime is one of my favorites. So I love My Hero Academia.
Mhm.
That's also One Punch Man. And what are some of the other ones? Does Soul Eater kind of count as like a superhero superpower?
Because I feel like the line is so like blurry with those.
Yeah.
Like it totally can be.
That
like
one's just like Halloween themed.
yes.
It's
Soul Eaters.
themed.
Gun Gale Online. So I liked Sword Art Online, but I like Gun Gale Online so
Mm.
much more. But that's not really superhero-y. That's more video gamey. That's a different
Is
genre
it?
too, isn't that?
Mm-hmm. Isekai.
Is there anything that you guys really look for?
Oh, psychological, anything
Mhm.
psychological, like psychological thrillers are some of my favorites. I just love being confused forever. And then like I like being really like Paranoia Agent. Oh my god. I don't know if you've seen it, but Paranoia Agent, if you ever want a quick, it's 13 episodes. It's by Satoshi Kon. Yeah, that one is like you don't know what's going on in the story or it's like a who did it kind of thing almost.
Ooh, I love
But you're
that.
wondering if it's like all psychological or not the whole time. And the end of the episode, you're still like, whoa. Like the end of the whole series, you're like, wow. Like, do I even get it? Do I even understand what I just watched? Like, is that actually like what happened?
I love stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
That sounds right up my alley.
It's really, that would probably be a really good one. They don't have like any of the weird, like the over the top stuff. It makes sense in the story really well. I think there's only one episode that probably does over the top things. And it's, I think you would like it. Satoshi Kon would probably be a good one for you, for directors and stuff to watch.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if you don't get triggered. You should definitely watch Perfect Blue.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Thanks for the rec.
Yeah. That's what I'm here for.
Oh, is there anything that you...
I think I like kind of trying to think like in an anime, kind of a go-to. Like I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like it if it's like really, really colorful and really, really pretty. Doesn't really have to have a lot of dialogue. So yeah, that's kind of my like safe go-to
aesthetic?
Yeah, aesthetic.
Yeah.
Mine's like kind of goofy humor. So like if there's at least one character that has a lot of really punny jokes or like one-liners and stuff like that, that'll normally keep me watching. So, but I do like the like action and like fantasy, like adventure type stuff.
So what are your guys' first anime-based cosplays that you've ever done?
Mine was Neo Queen Serenity from Sailor Moon. I had always wanted to do like the Queen Serenity dress. I did it the first year I cosplayed, so it was the first thing I like actually made the whole thing, minus the wig. The dress, I made the dress, and
cool.
it turned out pretty good for like my first thing. Like it stayed on me all day.
Yay.
It didn't fall apart. Yeah, and I went to this little like I don't know if they still do it, but they used to do International Sailor Moon Day in Seattle. It was like this small little like convention thing. Yeah, it was in this little like the first time I went to it, it was in a like community like it was like a little like it looked like a business building, like a small business building, but it was like a community hall or something. And they put it out in there. It was really fun. And they had like a cosplay contest and then I actually ended up winning the third place for it. So that was really cool.
Good job.
Yeah,
Congrats.
I was like, oh my God. Wow. And then
How old were you? Because you said that you didn't like out that you liked anime.
No, that was, so I was like, I have to do math. I was 25.
Wow.
Yeah. 25 or 24 or 25 because it was within that first year, but I don't remember. Yeah. That was my first one.
Cool.
It's exciting.
We'll have to look up and see what's still going on because that would be fun.
Yeah. I would love to go to that again. I went 2 years in a row. The second year they had a bigger building and actually like a lot more people there. So that was really cool. I met so many Moonies. It was so fun. Everybody was so pretty.
Is that what they call them?
Yeah, Moonies. That's right. I forgot.
There's also a cult where they called the members Moonies. That's why I'm okay.
Wait,
sure.
Do tell. Which cult are we in?
Sailor Moon, apparently. Okay.
So my first anime cosplay was Sue from a Clamp manga called Clover that was not finished. And I don't know how old I was. Probably under 15 for sure. But I was like super shy and I didn't get any pictures of it. But yeah, so that was my first anime cosplay, and it was really cool. I had my aunt help me with it. I didn't do the wings because that was way beyond my skill level, but I had her little like white and silver or white and gold like trim dress thing.
What about you two?
I think Pokemon Trainer last Halloween was probably the first I've done.
I think my only anime is also Pokemon.
Yeah.
Trainer.
Yeah.
Does Mario count? Because I've dressed up as Mario before.
He's a video game character. Yeah.
Anime.
Yeah, like
he's made in Japan, but he is video game.
Yeah.
I guess technically there was like the Mario show and everything back in the day.
Well, because I've got a number of Yang costumes from Ruby, but that's made in America. So,
Are there any anime cosplays that you guys want to do in the future?
Go ahead. A lot of the animes that I've watched so far are just people wearing regular clothes, so it's hard for me to like cosplay as them because I don't know that I'll be recognized as any particular character.
You
just
said Violet Evergarden would be cool. I thought I heard you say something about how that would be cute to cosplay. Did you say that, or am I making that up?
I don't think I said that.
I think she said that. I think you said that.
The art is really pretty, but I don't know if any of the clothes are like, oh, that's Violet Evergarden.
Sorry.
Okay, now I want to hear yours.
I was trying to look up her name because I cannot think of it right now, of course. But from My Hero Academia, the girl that like sucks the blood to like
Toga.
Toga, yes. I've had a few ideas for doing her before, because especially when like she's got that really big neck thing that has like the teeth on it. That looks so cool.
Yeah, she looks like she's really fun to make too. Like all the cosplays of her, I wouldn't cosplay her because I like some other characters in there. I cosplay Bakugo, but and then I want to do Kirishima really bad. But I always see like all of her like prop things. I'm like, God, that would be so much fun to like make and like wear around and actually play with during the con. Yeah.
Yeah. I've helped to make aspects of Soul from Soul Eater before. So I actually like hand stitched a felt like little ogre.
Well, if the Sailor Moon Festival is still going on, then I could get involved in that.
Yeah, Moonie.
Yeah.
I refuse to call myself a Moonie, but
you're joining our cult.
Are there any?
You're already a part of one cult.
Yes, I was like, wow, we need to be lamb right now, both of us. Bum, 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 bum.
Oh my gosh.
You
You are truly a glorious leader.
So speaking of dressing up as anime characters, what are your thoughts on animes that have like live action versions of them?
I really liked the Cowboy Bebop live action, and I feel like it was really great to see it again because Cowboy Bebop was one of my favorite animes. It's definitely an older one, and I kind of have the view of like, it's more accessible for people who don't watch anime. Like, you know, to watch the original Cowboy Bebop might not be to their aesthetic. You know, it's so old and outdated kind of with like the animation, but so I really liked it. I have nothing negative to say about it. The Death Note live action though, I don't really consider in the same. I would not recommend that. And I don't know. That's
thought
what we can talk about though that I can think of.
Yeah, I thought Garuk was great in the live action. I thought it was so cool. But I agree. I could not. I was so angry watching that.
Why was it in Seattle?
I don't. Why did they make
Why
any
did
of
they have
those
to do that to
decisions?
us?
Honestly, I'm like, or Ryuk song Garuk. Who is that? I don't know.
You were thinking of a tree guy.
Yeah, I know. I was like, God, I put them together. Now I don't like that. I had a visual of like both of them together, and I was like, oh.
Ryuk.
Yeah, Ryuk. Ryuk looked really good in it, and yeah, he was played really well. But
and Willem Dafoe is
yeah,
like,
I was like
the best choice of a voice for that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's already just so creepy.
Oh, for sure.
But any of the other ones, I don't know. I thought the Full Metal Alchemist one wasn't too bad, but I wasn't like all in on it exactly. I didn't watch the remake of Cowboy Bebop, actually, the live action. It's been hard for me to watch a lot of things with school and work, so but I have to kind of pick and choose. And after hearing a lot of the reviews about it, I was like, maybe I'll just like watch this when I have a little bit more time. So I haven't really delved into that. I think most of them are like meh, though.
I haven't watched any other ones. We saw the new Trigun, but that was like the animated, new updated anime one. It was, I don't know. I liked it for what it was, and it was cool to see him again, but I just don't think it had anything to do. It was so different. The whole vibe was so different than the original, so I can see why some people might not.
There was one I saw. I can't think of the name of it right now, probably because I don't think I ever saw like the anime, but it was like some type of like samurai or ronin or whatever that had like some type of scar on his chest, and they had like 2 or 3 live action movies or something. I'll get back to you on that one,
not sure
but I
about
can't remember the name. But I did really like the first movie of it. The second one was not the best, but
well, who needs a sequel though? Come on.
yeah.
I'm pretty outspoken about my dislike of sequels in general. So
Yeah.
I having never seen the original Cowboy Bebop, I really liked the live action Cowboy Bebop. So I think you're right. That could be like a stepping stone for people who aren't so sure if they would like anime in the first place, well, try this. And if you think that that's all right, then try the animated version of that. And then from there, you can kind of like, oh, okay, now there's this whole new world. But that's the only one that I've seen. So, well, other than Death Note. And I actually really liked the Death Note anime, but the Death Note movie sucked. I don't know though. I think that right now they're kind of easing off of what was a recent trend, I guess, of turning every illustrated movie into a live action version. For some reason, people are running out of ideas. There are a million books that I've read that would make great movies.
Yeah.
Great live action, great whatever. But instead they've been remaking cartoons as live action for some reason.
Thanks, Disney.
But it sounds like they're kind of moving away from that. So I don't know how much more anime to live action we're going to be seeing. Is there anything that you would want to see converted?
That's a good question.
I personally don't really think so. Like for me, at least. I don't know. I think anime has like such a good way of doing things that we can't in real life. Like even the over traumatization stuff, like that, what is it? It's kind of symbolic in a way, I guess, like of like specific personalities and like or how you want to express or trying to be more expressive and trying to get people to like understand the emotion better that they're trying to portray. But when you do that in real life, you get like the people that you're like, they're a lot. And like, and watching that can be a lot as well. And there's so much like surrealism in anime that you can't translate to like real people.
Did you ever watch Nodame Cantabella? It's about like a violinist. It's very, very cute. And they had, so the anime is really sweet, really cute. And then they also have a live action, like a K-drama or just Japanese drama of it. And they did such a good job. But I think I liked it because it's kind of a slice of life anime. So it's just about high schoolers and they're in like the music program and it's kind of like a love story between two of the students there. So I think, they can do that really well. Whereas something like Parasyte would probably be a little odd to see live action of. I think depending on the genre.
Yeah, like the school, anything that's just kind of like school kids doing school kid things, like maybe K-On! I haven't really seen K-On!, but I know that one's like it's heavy on music, so it would be kind of cool to like see all the music and all of that. Maybe I'm not sure if they have like a live action. I don't look up live action things. Now I think about it, but yeah, I think like anything like that that's less of the like less heavy on surrealism or maybe like the special effects or like practical effects and things, I think might be cooler.
Kind of when you were mentioning the surrealism thing, so kind of to that point, as you were talking, I was kind of thinking about how the illustration style kind of lends itself to making the character be more of a blank canvas. So yes, they've got facial expressions and emotions and stuff, but there's not a lot to the anime illustration style that puts a lot of detail or anything into anybody's specific face. So as this character is going through whatever emotions, it's pretty easy to actually put yourself into their shoes because there's nothing pushing you out of that necessarily. I don't know if that makes sense. But so that would make it more difficult too to make, especially something that is relying really heavily on you connecting with these characters or feeling the emotions that they're feeling, because a lot of times it's just like the eyebrows shift like one pixel to the side and suddenly it's a whole different emotion. It's a lot harder for a person to do that.
Yeah.
So I can see how like the illustrated medium would make it easier to tell stories like that or make it more impactful, or in conjunction with and a lot of times like hand-drawn background that you can tell a lot of heart and soul went into that. It's just not the same when it's somebody standing in a field that nature grew. you know.
Yes.
So,
I'm not
okay.
impressed.
Like, wow.
Wow, good job, Mother Nature. Do better. You've been doing this forever. Try something new.
Something new. But no, I've been convinced. Mm-hmm.
This whole episode is just convincing you to watch anime. A deep dive.
Just start with Satoshi Kon.
Here we go.
It's not about convincing me. I'm just absorbing all of your guys' insights because it's all so new to me. What do you?
Oh, Satoshi Kon's over there. There's a Perfect Blue is on the bottom of that stack with Belle on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Satoshi Kon, there he is.
There's a show on Netflix that's called something Kotoro, and it's basic.
Oh my god, My Neighbor Kotoro. It's so good.
It's the little kid that lives in the apartment
Yes.
building. Mm-hmm.
If you want to cry, you should watch it. It's so wholesome and sad and wonderful at the same time.
Delightful
I love it so much. It's so good. Man.
So it's basically little kid is living alone in an apartment building, and he gets a monthly allowance that he then has to choose how to spend it himself. And he doesn't understand necessarily what's going on. He's very old for his age. He's like 4 or 5, but he's still 4 or 5 years old. And so kind of his neighbors start to notice that he's living by himself. And so they kind of all step in to kind of like raise him as a community without stepping on his toes in a sense. And it's really interesting watching you find out as he does what is going on, how he got into that situation. And like, it's very touching.
Mm-hmm.
It's
wholesome.
Very wholesome.
It's super wholesome.
Hold on to your hearts though as you go into it.
You will cry.
That's a good one.
Just get ready. Man, Kotaro is good. Like they thought about this. These people really know like hits in those situations. So yeah.
One of my favorite scenes though is the main guy who's taking care of this kid is trying to be an artist. And Kotaro is not in school, so he has to take Kotaro with him to a job interview. And so he's showing the potential boss his different pictures, and the boss is like, yeah, but we're going to make you do it for free because your art's fine, but it's nothing great. And Kotaro's like, no, neighbor dude, you need to leave the room for a second. And he's like, okay. And then the kid like stands on the chair and is like, you need to give him this job. He is a great illustrator and you can tell it because this is the best drawings that I've ever seen. And if you don't give him a job, then you should be fired. And like gets up and walks out and
Oh my god.
and slams the door behind him. And he's like, okay, we can go home now.
So good.
Oh, sweet.
Delightful. So do you see any difference? Because you do both anime and video game primarily.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see any difference between the two when you're cosplaying them? Yes. Either in the reactions other people get or the way that you wear them or the way that you make them or anything like that?
Yeah, so video games, especially because of how like, okay, we're gonna go in steps here.
Okay.
So
take us on a journey.
Yeah, we're going. Get ready, buckle your seatbelts. So with anime, like most of it is like there's obviously textures and stuff, but it's really up to interpretation a lot of the time. And so you can kind of, you're like, oh, I don't know really like what fabric this actually looks like it's gonna be. So I can go in and like try to find a fabric that I like that's cheap and is the same color and maybe flows like a cape or whatever I'm trying to make. And then with video game characters, they actually have weight to certain things and like more heavily textured things. And so you're like, okay, this is definitely leather. I need to find leather. Or I need to make something like leather.
Right.
But with like anime and stuff, you're like, I'm gonna glue some. God, actually, this is what one of my friends, Flux Cosplay, did for her Goblin Slayer. She found some like random 4-way stretch fabric that was really cheap that she had, and like slapped it over some foam and then sewed it together, and she was like, and then she painted it the color of leather.
Oh, nice.
And she was like, it's leather for Goblin Slayer.
That's awesome.
That works.
And it looked great. It looked exactly like Goblin Slayer because it's, you know, it's illustrated, like actually drawn cartoony, you know?
Yeah.
And then with like video game characters, like if you're really trying to be like really detailed, obviously you don't have to, but like if you are, you're like, wow, I really need this to look like leather.
Everything is leather.
Everything is leather. But yeah, and then wearing them, a lot of the anime characters that I do are like goofballs and stuff. I'm really good at like embodying the goofball character, like Goku. That's why I cosplay Goku and made it a point to be known Goku in Seattle.
She is Goku in Seattle.
I am Goku in Seattle. Follow me, I'm Goku in Seattle. God, I need a new Instagram now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here we
Backup
go.
account.
We're going on another journey. I loved Goku. I love like the goofball characters. I also really like in anime they have like really pretty dresses and things that like I feel like are really hard to make in real life or like in games and things like ball gowns. You see a lot of ball gowns and stuff in anime because it's really like ethereal and pretty. And with like Belle, when I cosplayed Belle, I was like, wow, I want to be this like super pretty anime character. And you know, yeah.
And you were.
And I were.
You did such a good job.
Thank you. Feel like with those characters, they have like these really specific personalities that you can see and like really connect with and stuff. Whereas video game characters, depending on who you are, it's kind of harder because a lot of the time, let's see, I'm trying to think of somebody. Oh, so my partner and I did the Crow. This is really obscure. The Crow and Barb the Bard from Death's Door, which is a small like indie game. And we did that last year for PAX. And Barb literally is an NPC that like takes you along the journey. And she just like sings these weird little songs. And so like all she has to do is like dun 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 and do these weird like dances with her staff. And that's her whole personality. Like we don't know what she sounds like.
Okay.
We like, yeah, that's it. We don't know what she sounds like. I don't know how she actually like would be. And then with the Crow, that's like your main character in the game that you're playing. But the Crow is whatever you want him to be. He doesn't really have dialogue exactly. Everybody talks at him. And so you can kind of be whoever you want in a way. Or it's like harder to figure out like how to portray the character sometimes. Yeah. And then I feel like sometimes with video game characters, I feel a little like stunted with like posing. Depending on what it is, because if you're doing something like Street Fighter or something, then there's like a ton of different fun poses that you could probably do.
You got options.
Yeah. But like, you know, Ronnie the witch from Elden Ring, I wanted to make her hat so dang bad, and I did. And then I wore it to PAX, and I was like, all I do is sit here like this. And then sometimes I can go like this. And that's it. I think I went like this once and I was like, no, that shows my arm because I didn't put sleeves on it because it was way too hot with the cape. And yeah, I used like a lot of fur for that cape, so it was too hot to add arms. So I was like, well, we can't put our arm out. We're just doing this. We're just doing this today.
Wow.
Oh, and then one more journey.
Yeah,
and then the way that people like react, I feel like the like anime like weeby kind of community, they react like way more like expressive to like a lot of the characters. There are definitely like some people that do that with like video game characters and whatnot, but generally I feel like video game characters, the like response that you get from other people are like, wow, this is really good. And like, I'm like, thank you so much. And then like you talk about why you like the character or why you like the game. And then that's like kind of the interaction, and that's kind of it. Or like how you made it sometimes too, if it's heavily like armor building. But with like the weeb community, everybody instantly like connects to you. It feels like I've made somebody cry in my bell every single time I wore her, which made me feel so good. I love it. But yeah, I've never had anybody cry at me like in anything else, and I was like, this is why I cosplay. This is it.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, because in one of our other episodes, Bears was talking about the differences between cosplaying like Disney characters versus game characters. Yeah. And the kids' like reactions to the Disney characters is so strong and fun to like play around with. So anime can definitely see that too.
Yeah.
Totally.
Well, I was kind of thinking it was because they were kids, but maybe it's just the communities are different. Because if little kids love Disney and then grown-up kids love anime, maybe that's the difference there.
I feel like some grown-ups, because there are like the Disney grown-ups and stuff, and like people are like really into like Disney and stuff. And I feel like, I don't know, I think it's because like Disney is so ethereal, right? Like the princesses and everybody that they have in there, they're just like these like beautiful beings, and you just
timeless.
Timeless. You just look at them and you're like, yeah, I remember that story that I watched them grow and like become themselves and stuff. And I think that's just really impactful for people. And so with like the Disney part, I think you get very similar reactions because of the connection aspect of it.
There was this group, what was it at Emerald City Comic Con, I think, and it was, I don't know if it was the same group of people that did a Disney version every single day, but there was like the ball gown Disney characters. Did you remember seeing them?
No, I only went to Emerald City one day this year.
So and then so like another day was fairies, but like Disney fairies.
Cute.
I was just like, oh my god. But yeah, I was definitely starstruck like when I saw the Disney ball gowns, because they were like legit ball gowns, like silk and everything, and I was just like, I don't even know of an event that you could go to that is this epic to wear this to. Like, you're here at a convention? No, you need to be in a castle. That was cool to see.
Should all go to a castle in our ball gowns.
Yes.
Yes.
So besides SakuraCon, is there any other anime conventions that you go to?
I hit up KimuraCon if I can. It's down in Portland. I really want to go to like Anime Expo some year. But that's just not in the cards right now because I have schoolwork. So I school for another like 3 years, and then I can go to Anime Expo. But I really want to go to that. And I don't know. I know there's like Chibi Chibi Con, and that always looks really fun. I've never been, but I've always wanted to go to that. And then I want International Sailor Moon Day back.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have to look that up and make it happen.
Yes. And then we can all go do a group.
Yes.
We be Moonies together. Bears. Bears plays.
I have to cosplay Sailor Saturn because like growing up I had her poster before she even like showed up in the like American TV show, so none of us knew who she was, and so I just feel like obligated. And I mean, so like she was like my favorite character, but honestly in the show she's pretty annoying.
Obligated.
I just have to. But she looks so badass, and she's like she is kind of cool. Like she's kind of like, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but in the show,
actually never.
She's like kind of the most. She's like traumatized, and so she's like kind of frail. Her health is frail. Her life is frail. And then she ends up being like this badass that like destroys the world, and then she gets reborn, and then the other Sailor Scouts have to take care of her as a baby. And then she like grows up.
Bears is like, maybe I don't like
Phoenix
Sailor Moon.
moment.
Yes, pretty much.
So rise up from the ashes.
Very fun to cosplay, I think, because there's a lot to work with there. There's a lot of unpacking that character.
I'm open to it, but we'll have to have a movie night or something.
A movie night?
A movie night. We can do a movie night.
One Sailor Moon episode movie night.
Yes.
There's actually Sailor Moon movies. There's multiple. So maybe we could just do that. We could just watch the Sailor Moon movies.
Do you want to watch it with us? Because we can stream it to our Twitch channel if you want, and we can all 4 of us, and maybe Rebecca too, do a little movie night, and you can hang out in the chat with us.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
We'll convert y'all to being Moonies. Oh my gosh. And that's the magical girl genre. So if you like that kind of thing, you can just look up more magical girls.
Yeah.
And you will like
maybe
more.
not use that in your browser though.
No. Not safe for work. What kind of magical girls are you looking up?
Usually it's okay. Just, I don't know. Just watch Madoka.
Oh, I do want to talk about Mal. So there used to be this thing called My Anime List, and it's very outdated now. And people who are really into anime like watch so much of it that they needed to like make a list, and also like how many episodes you were on. And it was like fun to like show your friends on like, I don't know how many I've watched 100 animes and stuff, and like the manga too. But now there's another site called Analyst, and there's like a little feature on there where it can like basically grab all your information on My Anime List to Analyst easily. And it's just the browser is so much easier. It's like the whole like user interface is so much more clean and easy to like add the animes, and I don't know, it's just a way better user experience. So I highly recommend it. Creating a little account on there on Analyst, ANILIST, and then you can just like add a little animes and your mangas, and like it keeps track of like which episode you're on, and you can even rate them, and you can add your favorites and your favorite characters and who's your waifus, like that kind of thing. So I updated mine. I've tried to update it the last few weeks now. So Anime Darling, follow me on there.
Does it give you
Tricks.
recommendations and stuff too?
Yes.
Can you see other people's list?
So like at the very bottom too, like if you add one, it'll be like, oh, other people have also added these ones or liked these ones. So do you want to do a little like show and tell and what you brought?
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing all the anime things. This is so cool to see, especially like different options. Like there's like DVDs, there's manga, there's figures, there is a record. So what is all this stuff?
So, I was told I could bring kind of whatever I wanted. And so I was like, well, I don't know what to bring. I have so many things. And also so many things are so big that I have. That was something that I didn't realize. And then so I brought some of this was already here. So some of this is hers, but I've got Nana because I actually finally have Nana, the manga set of it. Something I've wanted for like ever, but I didn't allow myself to buy for a long time because, you know, the whole closet weep thing for a long time.
Oh.
And then, but now that I'm older and I have adult money that I can use to, you know, buy these things, I'm doing it.
Yeah, do it.
So I have almost all of Nana. I just brought 5 of them. It's like, this is my favorite anime ever. And then I brought my husbando, who is Kamina. He's from Gurren Lagann, which is like one of my favorites. Definitely like always in my top anime. He's one of my favorite characters ever in anime. He's just like I don't know if you guys have seen Gurren Lagann.
It's been a long time.
Okay. I was like, you probably haven't. I don't know if you have. Okay. So Gurren Lagann is like kind of a really big, like inspiring anime. It inspires you to like go like bigger and stuff. I don't know that you would like it, Bears.
Okay. Thanks for the heads up.
You might not, but like
it sounded like a positive message, but
yeah, it is a positive
I like the
message.
caveat.
I'm not totally sure that you would like it or not, but you can definitely try it because I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence if you would like it or not. But yeah, it's basically people have to live underground, and because the surface is not fit for humans anymore. Nobody knows why. Nobody's seen the sky. They just live underground, and it's very monotonous, really dark and stuff. And Kamina wants to go to the surface because his dad went to the surface before. And so he, this is literally the setup for all of it. It's like no spoilers. So he bands with Simone, who like has lost his parents in a landslide kind of thing. Like basically their caved in on them. And so he doesn't really have any family. The village chief kind of takes care of him. and all he does is dig all day and doesn't really believe in himself or anything. And so Kamina is this big energy like character who's like, all right, little brother, let's go. We're gonna go to the surface because we're gonna do big things and reach for the sky and reach for the stars kind of stuff. Believe in me that believes in you is like a big thing that he says to him all the time. And then they end up making it to the surface, and that's all I can tell you about it without like ruining anything. That's pretty much the first episode. It is a mech anime. It has mechs, but it's not like a heavy mech anime. So
Interesting.
yeah, they find a mech head basically, and they make it to the surface. So that's the premise. And then I brought all of my Belle stuff because I hyperfixated on Belle. I love her. I loved the story so much, and I loved her character so much that I bought all of the things that I could find on the internet. So I got the vinyl. I actually don't have a record player, but I don't care. So I bought that. And
The
it's
music
kinda
is
just a
so
display
good.
piece. I know. It was like the Spotify like top things that you do. It was just Belle. It was literally just Belle last year.
Oh my God.
And then like Above and Beyond, but and Lady Gaga.
Excellent.
Yes. 10 out of 10. Yeah, I have her pop-up parade, which I think is the most recent thing that I got. I think it was I think I got these and then the vinyl and then her pop-up parade fig. And I'm really hoping that they make something in her red dress Belle. Everything's white dress Belle, which is super cute and super pretty. It's the way that you get introduced to her in the movie. But I want to see red dress Belle. And then I also brought my like collector's edition of Belle over there. That one's the one that you can get like in the US and everything. I also have the UK version of it, and I also have the just regular Blu-ray.
Wow.
So.
How do you store like if you have like a collection like you do of like one thing, how do you store it at your house? Do you have it like out? Like
So with all my manga we have on the shelves. Like my manga and my partner's manga are just like in the shelf with some of the figs and stuff. So some of our figs are there, and then on top of that, Belle, the pop-up parade, sits on top of that with a couple of my partner's Evangelion figs.
oh, cool.
And then these two, the ultra detail figures, sit on another shelf that's on top of our like games stack. It sits with some other things that are in really similar packaging.
Okay.
So they're all a little bit more uniform. And then all of my DVDs and Blu-rays and things are all on this one shelf that's a double-sided shelf. So I think it's
cool.
actually made for like books and things, but I put movies on it. I put all my anime on it. It's the anime
Awesome.
shelf.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for bringing all the goodies. These are
Yeah.
so cool.
Oh yeah, and then I have some of my favorite movies over there. I forgot.
Okay, I'll have to look through those.
Yeah, they're Perfect Blue. Oh my God, what is it? Colorful. The Tale of Princess Kaguya, The Girl Who Leapt Through Time,
Oh,
and
that
then
one's so
Wolf
good.
Children.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Girl Who Leapt Through Time is so good. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a hard hitter.
Cute.
All of those are kind of hard hitters, actually. I really like stuff that makes me cry. So,
Okay. So, do you like Fruits Basket?
yes.
I think I like this one better. It's Kami-sama Kiss. It's not quite. I don't think it's as long as Fruits Basket.
Yeah, it's shorter.
And it's just like a little more interesting to me because I feel like Fruits Basket is kind of slow. I don't know.
Did you see the remake?
No.
No. Watch the remake. It's more
Okay.
towards the like the actual manga.
Mm.
The old one actually kind of went off the manga in little ways. They made like the I can't remember his name or their name. The head guy of the Soma family. They made them the rooster, I think, in the first one, and he's actually not the rooster.
Oh, that's a big change.
Yeah, there's a couple things that they did in the old one, and then it also didn't end. So the new one is like new one's really good.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll have to
I'd be
give that a
interested to see if you like
try.
it more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes a little quicker too.
I mean, he has ears. I guess it's fine.
Yeah.
So Sankaria, this is actually, we have a black cat named Babu, and this is how we got the name Babu, because there's a zombie cat in that. No, Ren, I know I had forced this one upon you. It's about farming.
Oh,
And
yes, I did like that.
yeah, it's silly. It's kind of perverted, but
I
just
totally
so
forgot
funny.
about that. I need to write that down so I don't forget it again.
Add
Yeah.
it to your
So
anime
that's like
list.
another recommendation. So these recommendations are like all different genres. So this one, how do I even say that? Kami-sama Kiss is like for cutesy, like, there's nothing horrible that happens. It's about zombies and reanimating people and animals, and it's kind of dark, but cute also. And then this one is kind of inappropriate, but very, very funny. Steins Gate is an anime that I'd recommend if you like the psychological stuff, and also people just making friends, and they're kind of outcasts. My husband and I did cosplay the main characters when we went to a convention in Chicago. And then Dead Man Wonderland is considered like a horror anime, but it's like the characters have they have like these special power type things where they can use their blood and transform it into weapons, and then they get like pinned against each other, and I don't know, it's like not like a game situation, but they're all like inmates kind of, and they have to like fight each other, but then there's like a crowd. It's very crazy.
It's duels to the death,
Yeah.
and it's made to be like it's a dramatized thing. So the people that are actually watching it are like, oh, it's not actually like happening. Some of it. The manga for it is amazing. Like I
haven't read the
love
manga.
Oh, it's so good. if you like the like gory grotesque stuff, it just gets deeper. It just gets crazier. It's real good.
It's 100% blood and gore.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
your
it
thing.
is. It goes into
Shiro,
Shiro's
yeah.
story a little bit more, like a lot more in the manga, like past this, because there's a reason that she's like that. So
Okay, that would be cool.
There's a huge reason
to learn
she's
about
like that. Yeah, I usually find like because I have more time for like anime, especially like while crafting and stuff, because you can watch and craft at the same time. So I usually watch anime, and then if I'm like super into the story, like I did with like Dead Man Wonderland and Fruits Basket and a couple other ones. Berserk. But I like read the manga off of them because I loved the anime so much, and there wasn't an ending to it. I think if you are one of those people that like doesn't know if you should read the manga or like watch the anime, just do whatever one like sounds like you have more time for, or like, you have more headspace for, what sounds better at the time, because some days you want to read and some days you want to watch TV. And then if you want to read the manga off of like the anime, like go for it. There's so much online that you can find for free too. Like I'm reading Berserk on a webpage for free. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Do most animes have mangas that go with them?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, anime is usually based off of mangas. I think they always are, like, at least nowadays. I think some of them are based off of like, I can't remember, like magazine, like things in magazines, like little tiny like short stories or something, and then they'll make it into like one big one. Like they get picked up, kind of almost like film festivals in a way, actually, where you just get picked up and your thing big thing. Yeah, there's a lot more of that nowadays. I think was it Way of the House Husband was kind of like that. That was smaller. It wasn't just like a small short story, but it was like less known, and then they made the
Yeah. Okay, cool.
That sounds really fun.
It is really fun. It's interesting. So he didn't originally want it to be an anime. The guy that made it, can't think of his name, but the guy that made it didn't want it to be an anime because he was like, no, like it's a manga for a reason. I don't want them to like move fluidly and stuff. And they were like, no, we want to make it however you want it. And he was like, oh, okay. So every scene, instead of being like fluid motion, instead of like people actually like moving, they just kind of like, whoa, and then it's just them like this, and like their lips will move or something, or their eyes will move a little bit, and then it'll like cut into a new scene, just like it's a manga. And it flows really well. So it doesn't. I thought it sounded super weird. But we were gonna try it because it's House Husband. So so we tried it, and I was like, wow, this is done really well. So, yeah.
We'll have to try that one for sure. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Where can we find you?
So I'm on.
Where do you live? No, I'm just kidding. What's your Instagram?
I live here. You guys invited me into your house.
And I'm not leaving.
I thought all this stuff was just for the podcast.
No, I'm just moving in slowly.
Yeah, she's like a vampire. You invited her.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
You guys have like a really big closet. I'll just take that first. It's okay. No, but I'm on Instagram as WigglesTheGreat. That's mostly where I am. I also do TikTok here and there. Everything's kind of scattered right now. I'm at school. But I do TikTok. I'm on there as WigglesTheGreat as well. And then if you want to hear what's in my head sometimes, Twitter, I'm WigglesTheGreat, but instead of a T at the end, it's a 1 because somebody stole the WigglesTheGreat on there.
Oh no.
And it's probably the really cute dog that is also WigglesTheGreat on Instagram that I love. So yeah, that's where I am.
Fun. All right. Well, thanks again.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah.
So make sure that you follow WigglesTheGreat on Instagram and WigglesTheGreat1 on Twitter. You can follow us on YouTube, like and subscribe, or if you're listening to the podcast elsewhere, subscribe there. We have an Instagram, Cutting Edge Cosplay. We have a Tuesday night craft night on Twitch at Cutting Edge Cosplay. Yeah.
A Patreon.
We have a Patreon. We have a Discord if you want to hear our random thoughts too.
We have all the things.
We've got it all.
We also have cool merch too.
We do.
As well.
We have this shirt. It's a Razorback. You can buy it on our merch shop, which is in our link tree and also linked down below.
Oh, you got the
see
pants.
Dope.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cozy.
I have more coming, but it hasn't arrived yet.
They're really comfy. So, anyways, thanks for hanging out with us. Tell us all your anime thoughts. We want to hear from you. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
Outros.
One eternity later.
All right, so that was take 1. We're gonna do it again.